Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the April 2021 Makefield Highlands Golf Committee annual monthly meeting. I'd like to turn it over to Ed Gibson and Mike Atara from Spirit Golf.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for everybody attending. Just want to first kind of start going right off of hopefully everybody got the agenda and all the information we sent out earlier. Mike and I sent the quarterly financials earlier in the day. And then I tried to, like I usually do, take those numbers and then make a summary on our benchmarks for off of the agenda. So I'm going to kind of go pretty much just start working right off the agenda, just because those numbers are also corresponding right from the financials. So we figured it would just be easiest just to start to kind of go right to where we were through the end of the first quarter, obviously being the end of March. We know what February was, a lot of snow on the ground and not much to report, hence why we ended up blending February's and March meetings together. When you look at just the benchmarks and we start, looking at obviously with the way last year was, which really isn't a year we're looking at entirely, but we still have to recognize it. For the rounds played, and remind you, prior to our shutdown, which was right around St. Patrick's Day of last year, we had a really busy winter because we didn't have much snow cover. So when you look at the rounds played for 2020 through March, we were 3,476. This year in 21, we had 3,858. So we were still 382 rounds ahead of where we were last year, being that the last 2 weeks of the month of March, we were closed, obviously. So this year we had 41 days closed in the first quarter. Pretty much we were shut out for the whole month of February for golf rounds. As you go down and you look at how it affected green fees, we were for 21 we were 103,935 for green fees, and we were 32,496 on cart fees for the first quarter. So all in for green fees and carts for this year, we were 136,431 on the golf revenue. So a little over $35 per round based off of the number of rounds I just touched on. Budget was 93,720. So certainly ahead of that, just because of once we got going in March, we were really, really busy with golf. You look at the range, 17,989 this year in the first quarter against a budget of 12,800. Merchandise, we were well ahead. We've had a pretty good first quarter, 15,397 against a budget of 7,250 in merchandise, and that's for a number of different things. We've been doing a little bit more fitting in the off season. Dave, myself, we've done some nice promotions. Lawrence done a nice job inside, so certainly it's starting to show on the number side. The restaurant for the first quarter, just with the public house, we did 20,214 against a budget of 17,700. And then we had one large banquet. We had a bat mitzvah in March, so that's where the banquets and events, we did 11,879 this year against, we had in there for the budget, we had 15,000. So for food and beverage all in, a little over 32,000, 32,093 against a budget of 32,700. So pretty good. Again, barring that we were closed for so long in the off season on the F&B side, which we typically do for the most part in January and February anyway, but we do have Thursday to Sunday. We have some limited hours in a normal year, and we do have some events in a normal year in the off season that we didn't typically have this year. So numbers look pretty good. Mike, I don't know if you wanted to touch on anything number driven on top of what I put in there for the benchmark.
No, I think numbers are good. They're positive. So I think things are kind of looking, from what we saw in March and just the first 2 weeks in April, they're, still very busy. So, I still think we're going to see a positive rise on golf because of, people's ability to be out there and playing a little bit more. So that's a good thing. So yeah, keep going.
Okay. So we wanted to touch on the capital projects that Spirit Golf Mike presented back in early part of the year with the Top Tracer driving range technology and the Fairway IQ project, that is the golf cart tracking system. So Top Tracer, we're a little bit in a holding pattern right now, only because when we were working with Top Tracer, they took a lot of time and detail to go through a drawing of the schematic of everything for our driving range and what we needed. And then Mike and I started to go through our due diligence to get bids, to get some electrical work done in addition to some of the prep work that we could do at Makefield Highlands. And as we started getting some numbers back and then revisiting the drawings, Top Tracer ended up making a mistake on the drawing, and they have to resketch the whole drawing. In essence, there's 4 towers, and really Tower 1, the electrical should get pulled from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and they had it in the middle where it was going spread out. So it was actually opposite of how it should be done. So it looked like we were initially looking at May 3rd as an install date. But with this setback, as far as getting schematics in our hands, it looks like at best right now, late May. I think Mike was on.
Yeah, I asked him if we can really try to shoot before Memorial Day. Still the goal. But yeah, it was a pretty big foul up as far as for the electrician to really define what the work and the scope of work was. So I think we're working with an electrician now that I think can do the job, and we got a few other quotes on the original spec. So we'll see. Hopefully they can get this drawing out to the electrician this week, and and then he can give me a drop dead date when he can get in there and start working. So
How long does it shut the range down for?
We don't really necessarily have to shut the range. We just put them on the grass in front because we're going to be working in the backside. So we'll just have to kind of reroute them and, kind of keep them out of the way because we'll be trenching to get the wires in, but all that'll be on the backside. So it really won't shut us down per se.
Yeah, we're hoping not to do that as well.
And when do we start paying them? This is a software agreement, right? So when do we start paying them for their software as a service?
No, not till we get started.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're not paying for something that we're not using.
Yeah, no, we're fine.
Yeah, no, not happening there.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, still want to hope to get it out, for beginning of the season.
And then we have the Fairway IQ. Mike and I have been in contact with them. We started speaking with them electronically. I spoke with them this week. We were going back and forth via email as far as getting the installation and going through some training. So that's going to be had in the coming week. So we'll kind of have a good handle on that. I would think probably within the next 7 to 10 days, and maybe try to get this, this management portal started fairly soon as well. So we're excited for that. I think it'll certainly add to some of the just tracking, not only of time, but how the Monday through Wednesday, affects us with our double T's and just where we're at. We had a good week into that. So good test. So I think this will help us along the way. Wanted to touch on a couple things for the golf course update. Just wanted to, certainly we talked about it the last time we gotten together about the seasonal pass. And I know the committee had asked us to come back with a little bit of a pro forma to discuss and see, just the conversation. So Mike and I were able to get a hold of the T-Snap, which was our older point of sale system, and be able to get some numbers and some classifications as far as rounds played based on the classification of the golfer. So hopefully everybody got a chance to see that a little bit. I'm just going to refer to that that spreadsheet we did. This was where we got the numbers from. Obviously, we did a combination of a few years, but when you add the rounds played, we were right around 40,000 rounds played when you look at the 4 different classifications that we broke down. One being the non-resident senior, the resident, and the resident senior. So obviously it goes without saying, we know that our non-resident has, certainly a larger number of rounds played here. And you can see that in this report shows 22,109 rounds for the non-resident. And that equated to just under $720,000, $719,787 in green fees. So what we did was, as you look down and you look at the other classifications, the resident is 8,108 rounds played, and that equated to a little over 121,941 as far as green fees. As Rich and the committee asked us to do, to try to dive in and see how many golfers played over a certain number of rounds. So we tried to look at 2, categories. One being how many golfers played at least 6 to 10 rounds during the year. And it looked like there was at least 464 as we crunched some of the numbers that played at least 6 to 10. When you looked at the next category, 11 to 20, if you played 11 to 20 rounds during the year, that was just under 300 golfers. And I think when we were just talking casually last about it, we thought of the non-residents and others, there's probably at least, 300 or so that played at least 20 to 20 plus rounds of golf. So, I think the conversation could kind of be where we were talking about if we decided to do a non-resident pass holder. I know Mercer and there's other counties that do it a little bit differently, but if we decided to allow the pass holder, maybe not resident rates per se, but maybe a discount on green fees. If we just looked at the non-resident green fee amount, if those players got 10% off the 719, 787, there would be a discounting of $71,987. If we got 300 non-resident players to become pass holders, let's say, I think it was $200 was the first number. Was that right, Mike? That was the first one that kind of we were talking about.
Yeah, 225, I think.
225, I think it was. That's where at 300 golfers at 225, that's where the total comes up at 67,500. So
yeah. So I think the long and short of it is it's on the discount versus what you'll gain potentially could be a wash. So I think, we kind of started this whole conversation actually about tee time availability, because that is the one thing people I think will pay for, is to have access. So looking at that, Ed and I talked through it a little bit. We don't think you wouldn't have a loss, which I think was, the exercise, just to make sure it wouldn't go backwards on us. But I think if we could find another 100 or 200 people that would say, hey, we'd be willing to do this for the access to the tee sheet a little sooner, we could blend that in with our current program where, residents have 3 weeks. Maybe the non-resident tee time pass holder has 14 days, and we give regular public non-resident 7 or 10 days.
So here's a question, Mike or Ed. So you've got two tranches. You've got players that have played 6 to 10 rounds and players that have played 11 to 20 rounds. What about players that have played more than 20 rounds?
Yeah, so there was, let me look at that here.
Because that at some point you start to have a diminishing return, right?
Yeah, it's not a huge, the interesting, thing, I guess, it's not that big a number. We got that many people playing more than 20 rounds of golf.
Yeah, the report that we pulled, the 21, to answer your question, Rich, 21 to 30 rounds was 128 players.
Right. So it's not
31 to 40 rounds of golf was 34 players.
So I think the universe is probably 600 people in non-residents who would do this and say, hey, it's a value because I get the earlier tee time. It's not so much a value that they're going to save a lot of money, but it's the convenience really of what we're offering them. So that's really, I think where it falls out and where it makes sense is more for that than it is anything else.
And so I agree with you. I'm not sure I completely agree with the math, but the other hard part of the analysis, and you guys probably don't have a way to do this without really drilling down, would be how many of the, so the conclusion is, right, that a resident the residents have the biggest advantage to make the time. And let's say there's two residents playing two non-residents or some combination of that, but they make a time for 4. Well, the two non-residents, there's no incentive for them to buy the card because they're going to be able to enjoy the earlier time, which I think is fine. I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. I don't, and you wouldn't want to change it anyway.
No.
So, look, I still think it's a decent idea. I just wouldn't want to mismanage the expectation of the committee or the township that there's going to be I think it's worth a try, but I don't know what the expectation will be if people do the math and realize, okay, I got to play 27 rounds to recover the $200.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen,
I don't know.
I don't think that's the math. I think the math is I don't want to make a phone call, or I want to make sure I play Makefield Highlands, and I want to be sure I get that tee time. So I'll pay that money to do that.
Yeah, and look, I think it's worth a try, and we see what happens. I'm not. I mean, if in the committee we can, after the Spirit guys are done, we could take a vote on that.
Yeah, if you guys want to spend a couple of days or dive into a little bit and throw back, anything back to us.
Do we have?
And James, I don't know if it's something you want in front of the board for any final approval for something like this. It's not really a rate change, so I don't know if it needs, I don't know. It's not required, but just something to, I definitely want to get it out to the public anyway.
Are we able to see what maybe Mercer's numbers were instead of just saying, oh, this is not good for us? Maybe we won't know for a year and a half, see how this works.
I don't know if we can get the exact numbers, that's not really, they'd have to be willing to share that. So I don't know the answer to that.
The hard part with, and again, I'm not saying don't do it. I think it's worth trying. I would vote in favor of doing it. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Mercer's a tough one, Tim, because the resident rates are so much different than the non-resident rates, and I don't know, does the card in Mercer give the non-resident a discount, or just lets them make a time, correct?
No, we get a discount, Rich, because I have a Mercer County resident card, and I pay what a Mercer County resident pays.
Yeah, they're paying.
Yeah, but Dave, you got it because you're working. You didn't get it. I'm guessing you got it a different way.
No.
I pay $200 for a Mercer County non-resident card.
And you pay the resident rate?
And I pay the resident rate, yes.
Okay.
So, but you have to play at least 20 times in order to make it work.
Right.
If I play 20 times in Mercer County, then it's worth my while to get that resident card.
Right.
Plus, to your point, if you like those courses, and to Mike's point, it gives you the ability to get the tea time, which is worth worth paying.
Yeah.
For. So
I mean, listen,
look, I'm in favor of this whole thing. I'm just
Yeah.
looking hard at the numbers.
and I think again we're not in a position to discount that greatly. And honestly, I don't know Mercer County's program to the effect of how it drives revenue to them, but we would lose if we did it that way. If we gave them the resident discount, we would lose money. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So for us, at the 10% range, you're safe, and you can give them a little bit of a discount, but not go to the resident rate, which I think is nice anyway, because if I was a resident, I wouldn't want to have somebody be able to buy into the resident rate,
Yeah.
So
Mike, question.
Yeah.
Your comment was we would lose money if we offered this program.
we would lose money if we offered it at the full resident discount.
At a full, yeah.
Give me.
We wouldn't lose money on this program.
Just a minute. Just a minute. Is that okay? What if we drew in more people to play? Or are we saying that our tee times are booked enough that we don't need this program?
No, I'm saying we're trying to find ways to generate new revenues. Our golf course is pretty much full. So we're trying to find other ways to generate new revenues without, changing the per se rate every year, having to increase rates every year. This is an opportunity to sell something that I think people want, which is the convenience of being able to book a tee time early so that they know they can play their favorite golf course. And that's kind of where we think it has value. So.
Yeah. And I think the difference between the non-resident peak rate, which is $80 and $65, with that being a big spread at $15, the conversation was in reference to Mercer. At Mercer, as Dave knows, when you pay the $200 as a non-resident pass holder, you get resident rates. So I think what Mike was referring to is if we decided to go this way, we wouldn't say a pass holder would get LMT resident rates because there's too big of a discount, and that's where we potentially lose money. That's why we were saying maybe just a 10% discount, and as Mike mentioned, really just giving that pass holder more time to book. So.
Yeah.
But again, as we mentioned, take a few days, talk about it. I mean, come back to myself, Mike, with more questions. We can try to see if we can dive in a little bit more. I had to go back to TSNAP a couple times because their first spreadsheet that came together really just was hard to really disseminate. So, but we're happy to continue to crunch more numbers if the committee feels as though we want to do a little bit more diving into.
Yeah, if you have any questions, just come back to us. Let's try to get to a point whether either there's a recommendation or there's not, and we move forward one way or the other.
In addition to that, something that you all can talk about, I know Mike had a couple conversations, and this comes up quite a bit, was just our active duty and first responders, whether or not, we're going to be deciding to do some type of discount on a daily green fee. So Mike, I don't know if you wanted to kind of.
We got some inquiries about this again in the town, received some inquiries about it from some volunteer fire department folks. I talked to Kurt a little bit about it, and he said, just have everybody, really, take a look at it from the committee standpoint. If there's something there that is of interest, then I think it's worth doing. But let's do it, make sure we really think through it, because it does get a little complicated. There's a lot of different, whether it's first responders, do we want to, active military, I think, makes sense to me. And some type of discount, again, it may be a 10% discount again, like we're talking about with the card. And again, I'd be careful to go into resident rate and all that again. I'm not sure that's necessary. I think the gesture and the idea of trying to do something for active military and first responders is a good idea. I could tell you from other courses that we do it at, it doesn't turn into a big number. And we do it this way, and it's 400 or 500 rounds a year. So it's not a big number that, you know, we're going to have a risk of, you know, losing a lot of revenue. But we'd also be able to be doing something good for the community. So, you know, I think it's a good idea if we could do some type of percentage discount. And I would just ask the board to kind of think through that. And, you know, again, you have paid first responders, you got volunteer first responders. You know, so what's the right thing to do is kind of what I think is open for discussion.
How do these people present some authenticity that they are in fact that individual?
Most of them have some type of identification if they're police or fire. And active military do have military cards. So it's pretty easy to manage that way.
Well, we thought we'd at least mention it, and then the committee can talk about it, and then we can, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to talk about it now or if you want to talk about it after we're done. I do want to get back to some folks on this. So if we could kind of keep it something, you know, we can kind of keep moving, and maybe there's a presentation we can make to the board in the near future to talk about this and the cards if you want. So just let us know how you'd like to.
We'll talk. I'll defer to the committee if they want to talk about it now or wait till after.
I'm in agreement with it.
Me too.
I'm fine.
I'm in favor of it.
Now, are we saying we're in favor of offering a discount, or are we gonna talk about what type of discount?
So let's
Yeah, I guess-
let's talk about it. Let's do this the right way.
Yeah, I suggest 10% just to have a, you know, to me, something of significance enough to.
And is that for residents and non-residents? So a resident would get 10% off of the.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know,
Just
if
do.
you gotta
Okay,
do-
and then that would be for active military and paid first responders, or paid and volunteer first responders.
well,
You can't specify like that.
I'm asking the question.
yeah, I mean, in my mind, you know, I think about the volunteers are the ones doing it volunteer, right? They're not getting paid. The other ones are paid. So I would definitely include the volunteers.
Include them, okay. So then you guys have a way of, as to Tim's point, authenticating that they're, you know, they fall into this category. So it's first
Yeah.
responders. Let's make sure it's not frontline workers, right? First responders,
Police,
and that would be police and firemen
yeah,
and active military.
all right.
Can we limit it? Like, I hate discounting a Saturday morning round, even though they're first responders.
Good.
Can we do this like a midweek only? And if you don't want a discount, another way to do it is to provide added values. Like, say if they buy a round, you would give them free bucket of balls.
Yeah,
Or
not a bad
like-
idea either.
Good idea. Good
We do
idea.
that
Or
with the
something-
Veterans Day. With the Veterans Day, we do the,
Yeah, we
you
typically.
know, we give them the hot dog and the range and that kind of thing.
Yeah, like give away something, like taking 10% off a Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of summer is just stupid.
Yeah.
As much as you want to do for first responders, don't hurt your bottom line. And really, when you look at range balls, what's a small bucket really cost Lower Makefield?
Yeah.
You know, a half $1 or $1, I don't know what the what the value of that is, but give them food, give them free range balls, but don't give away your golf.
Mark, unfortunately, I disagree. If we're going to offer this out there, we offer them 10% for the cost of playing golf. Here, Mark, let me give you an example.
So offer it during the week. Don't offer it on
Mark,
weekend.
Mark, when I go up to play golf, I'll get a bucket of balls. If there's 30 balls in that bucket, I'll hit 5 or 6 and I pass them on to somebody else. If we're going to offer this to the people that we believe we should offer it to, we do it across the board at 10% of the cost, not for a minimal bucket of balls. I'm sorry, that's my opinion.
All right, but don't give it away on weekends.
Yeah.
Why not?
Ellen, were you going to say
Oh,
something?
I agree. Hey, can you hear me? I'm
Yeah.
on the phone. Yeah,
We can hear you.
I agree with what Mark said. I mean, you know, there's shoulder things that I think are appropriate in terms of this whole discussion. So,
Let's do this. Committee, let's take a vote on offering a program to first responders and active military. And then let's let Spirit come back to us at the next meeting with different options on how they would offer it. So can I get a motion to vote on offering some sort of benefit to first responders and active military?
So moved.
no,
Rich,
I'll vote for
in all respect, if we're going to do this, I think the committee should talk about this offline.
We will, but first, there's two parts, Tim. The first part is, are we going to offer a program? And then let me rephrase it then. If Spirit can present, let's take that motion back. How do I do that, Helen?
yeah, that's fine.
All right, we
Yeah,
call the
Rich.
motion. So
Rich.
let's do this. Let's pending what Spirit provides to the committee in the form of different types of benefit, of which we would select one or two for active military and first responders. Is the committee in favor of offering such a benefit once we see what the Spirit comes back to us with? Can I get a motion to approve that? We would be interested in hearing that. And let me say it differently. We'd be interested in offering this benefit should Spirit come up with something that we can all agree to.
I would agree with that.
Yes, I would.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so we'll
Wait, Pat.
Whatever.
No, Pat. Aye or no? Not whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pat. Tim.
And
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll come back and we'll lay out some added value options, some different time frames, and potential dollar discount value options for you.
Thank you, guys. And committee, we'll take it offline for further discussion.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the agenda, Ed.
Kind of keep flowing with golf, and then we'll get into maintenance and food. Just a quick update with the association. We added that new event the end of March, the Par 3 Challenge. I know a few of you played in it. Myself and Lauren did as well. We had a great time. It was a nice success. So something new, and we'll certainly keep that kind of moving forward. Some different ideas to how to entice the tournament schedule. We had our opening day this past weekend on Saturday. It went well. Really nice to see a nice group of new players this year. Probably somewhere in that 10 to 12 to 15 new players. A few of them already played last weekend, so it was nice to see the association grow. Thanks to all those on the golf committee that continue to support what we do here, and certainly echo all the positive stuff that helps get players into the association. So thank you all for helping us do that. Our next event's going to be the Saturday, May 22nd. So hopefully we'll have an even larger crowd. Our golf league update, both the ladies and the men's league have been technically underway or started. We had our ladies banquet tonight. Helen's here, and myself and Lauren and the team are welcoming the ladies tonight for a little meet and greet. I know Tim and Joe and a few others have been here on the Tuesday. Rich is now on one of our teams for our Wednesday team as well, or excuse me, our Wednesday league as well. So off and running here. This week will be our kind of an official open play week for tomorrow night for Tuesday, and we'll see what Mother Nature brings us Wednesday. But all in all, pretty happy with how everything's going. Got to do a couple little things on the schedule to continue to make sure all the times flow, but it seems like things are working pretty well. So happy with that. With our golf academy, we touched on the range. We know we're certainly trying to improve the technology there, but as far as what the coaches are doing right now with lessons and clinics, and as the weather's improved, we're very busy. Dave and Howie and I'm teaching a little bit as I can. It's been nice to see, and I think we'll continue to see even bigger numbers in 21 this year. I know Mark Peterson was trying to jump on. He texted me while this call was on. He was having some phone issues, so I don't know if he's Mark. It doesn't look like Mark's on. So
I don't think he's on.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of keep moving with the maintenance portion. But he finished aeration on, what was it, Easter Monday. It was April 4th, 5th, 6th. 5, 6, 7. So he completed that. We're a couple weeks in now. Greens are improving daily. Obviously, the warmer temperatures certainly are going to continue to help get this grass to grow. Last week, we were in the 40s again, so kind of got a gridlock. But over the weekend, he's been rolling and mowing, so it's getting better. Certainly getting better. I know those of you that played have seen us. And his ongoing mowing practices have been happening with tees and fairways. We've been rocking and rolling with that. He had an interview this week with an assistant, so we're hoping I know he said it went well, so we'll see how that continues. We're trying to get some more hands and staff for him as we get some more outside staff with some cart and some really, I'll just say outside staff. We're trying to hire some of the staff that's going to be almost like a little bit of a hybrid or a combination, little maintenance, a little outside. So some of the college staff that we're getting to kind of do range and carts. As we bring them in, we're going to see if we can try to also make sure that they, our need is to get some extra hands on the maintenance side as well. So Mark and I are getting caught up this week. I think I have about 4 or 5 potential candidates that can help. So encouraged with that, and definitely encouraged. I know he felt pretty felt discouraged a little bit because we weren't getting many inquiries. As much as there's work out there weren't a lot of people that were responding, and we weren't the only course in the area. So one of his colleagues at Trenton only had 1 response for an assistant's job, and I think Mark only had 1 or 2 responses as well. So hopefully with this interview going well, maybe we'll be able to to add another real good staff member to the team. So I'll let Mark speak on that next time we meet. I know he started spraying this week. I'd been kind of in his ear a little bit about some of the clover and the dandelions and making sure. So he was out today. He said, it was a little early to get it done too soon. So he was spraying anything you see this week. That should all be gone. And he's already been, fertilizer and some other things on the greens. He had mentioned that the plugs were in the greens very, very healthy, and the sand and the fert and everything got in there. So he was very pleased with how the aeration went. So he's very happy how that's going. He's got to get it growing. He's got to get it growing. So all in all, things are well. Things are well on that side. Mike, anything you wanted to touch on or?
No, we just got the equipment. We're waiting just for delivery on the greens mowers, so that they should be early May. It sounds like
Yeah.
the whole world is, a month behind everything the way it goes with shipping. So yeah, so we're hoping for early May on that delivery.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to move into food and beverage update. Chef, myself, Amy, Mike, we've all been chatting a little bit weekly, daily. We have our new spring menu. It's going to be launched this week. Chef's been focusing on one or two items the last couple weeks as lunch specials, and we're going to continue to do drink and lunch specials weekly. So this, like I said, spring menu should be launched here shortly. We've updated our hours, and they've been implemented as of a couple weeks ago. So we're kind of off and running there. Those of you that have been around have seen kind of a little new project that I had kind of up my short sleeve a little bit with myself and my bar manager Travis, who was with me last year, and Amy this year. A private label beer, and I think a few of you that have been at the club have sampled it. But the idea was they came to us from one of our other clubs in the area that did it with another brewery out in Montgomery County, and I thought it was a good idea to try to maybe work hand in hand with a local company right down the street, local business of the Vault Brewery. So went down, Amy and myself pitched the idea about trying to do a private label specifically sold at the public house that's brewed by the Vault. We came up with a really cool kind of design and name, and they're kegging it, they're canning it, they're dropping it off up here as we need it, and it's an American blonde ale. So they came up with a different recipe, and the shelf life is much longer based on how much we sell versus trying to do something different. But we named it "Put Me Down for a 5," and it's 5% by volume. Actually, Jim, the owner, kind of came up with the idea as far as the name. We had some different ones, but pretty cool project. It's been. We had in a week. We just reordered a half keg on tap, and we have it canned. So it's going over pretty well. So
what's the name again? What's the name again?
Put Me Down for a 5.
Ed, do you want me to share my screen so everybody can see it?
Sure.
It's pretty good. I had some the other day.
Yeah, so we're hoping to increase the to-go sales as well, but something new, something different. So if you're over here, check it out. And this is the can on the side, and then in the front has our logo, and it has like a sketch of like a golf ball kind of face to it. So it was a fun project. So I'm glad so far so good. We'll be able to upsell a little bit with the leagues, and we'll be able to upsell the half kegs for our golf outings as well. So something new. Moving along a little bit, let me just backtrack a little bit. Mike and I and Amy and others, we're going to get the steering committee back meeting again. We usually prior to COVID, we would meet usually once every 3 weeks. We're going to do that. I know Mike reached out to Colin. I don't think Colin's on the call tonight, but we're going to try to get connected again starting early May and talk specifically food and beverage like we've done before. So there's some reports on that I attached that you all can review, the call log report and the banquet report, so you can see. I want to go into detail with that tonight, but certainly Colin can bring back a lot of that conversation to the committee, so you all know what is happening. But I did want to touch on just some of the highlights for the events. Amy's had 7 events booked for this month. We have a new outing. We booked the 30th of the month, so that's new for April. 12 events booked in May. We have a wedding scheduled. Sorry. Okay. There's a wedding on May 28th. And the one thing that we wanted to make sure the committee saw, and take your time to look through it, is the call log and inquiry report. The calls are coming in, the emails are coming. We're getting a lot of walk-ins. So, she's been able to really do a nice job with converting the inquiries to bookings to success. And
yeah,
the two that we've had, Mike shared the one shower we had 2 weekends ago. Certainly we're always appreciate the good comments online through social media. So we're hopeful that it's going to continue as the season comes on.
One of the other pieces we emailed you was a report we just pulled with our Facebook and Instagram advertising we're doing, and inside of the first week that we promoted, I think we spent $48 on these ads, but we did them in a way that they would fill out the form, and we had 28 people fill out the form from a Facebook post. So that advertising is going well, and we're going to continue to kind of plug the social media advertising and manage it and and really track it, which is nice to be able to really track the numbers with the analytics. So we'll keep sending you those reports, but we could see how powerful that can be. We caught, I think, one booking out of the 28, so that pays for a lot of $48 ads, that's for sure. That was good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's everything I had for food and beverage as far as that. And like I said, we'll come back to the committee with the steering report when we get together early May. And obviously, certainly Colin's in on that conversation, like I mentioned. So he'll keep you all up to date with everything as well. Mike touched on the marketing and advertising. That was pretty much kind of one of the big things we wanted to at least the committee see all the little promotions we've been doing and the hits we've been able to see online. We're going to continue to still do the weekly specials that we launch. Rich pulled up one of the examples you see there for the food and beverage. Still do the monthly emails through our database through 4UP, and we'll still certainly want to do that to keep our customers informed of what's happening on a consistent basis. The golf shop and the merchandise promotions have been kind of focused on. Lauren's been looking at a calendar with myself and others and just trying to figure out where the promos are going to fall in around holidays or special events and what we can do to tie in. Tonight, as Helen saw when she was there at the meet and greet, we had a nice little cutter and buck display that we just got on Friday. And she rolled out and priced it, labeled it, and we were, I was in the shop selling pieces as ladies came through. So, I think certainly the merchandise promotions online and through the emails is bringing people in the shop, which is good. Certainly, we always get the impulse buy, which is good too, Mark. But to steer players in that want to come in and shop that aren't actually golfing that day, that's always a bonus. So, still going to try to work to increase the online store. And continue to find ways to promote merchandise and hard goods as best we can. So you'll hopefully see more of that in the future. You also see a little bit of the LMT, the newsletter. I think you've all maybe received it, but we also just I put it up there as an attachment so you can see something that Andy and myself and Mike just, put together, and we got that out there in the spring newsletter. So that we're, certainly we can make sure we're in the correct postings. And then last was we're going to continue to do our radio promotions that we've done with 97.5, the Golf Fanatic with Mike Rose. So we'll continue to do that as needed. So that was everything we had from the agenda and touching on different items. And like I said, we can circle back to any items that the committee's talking about later.
Hey, Ed, while you were off, I think for a week, I emailed you and Mike about, besides the newsletter, about the Lower Makefield Channel 20.
Oh, yes. Yes, you did.
And the reason I had brought that up is, one, I'm sure it's free marketing, and it's mostly local, but anybody in the area could put that channel on. And I was watching it. It must have been a slow night for me to put that channel on. But I noticed the pool had, probably 10 images of, we're opening for the summer. And why couldn't we have 10 images of Makefields and one of the golf course and one of our driving range, one of our pro shop? I'm sure and that we would have no issues getting those added. And it would be, I believe, zero charge, except for the cost of development of the screenshot.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Mark. That was definitely, I do remember seeing that, and I apologize for, I will certainly follow up on that for sure. I think that's a good thought. I think that's a really good thought. Mike and I chatted about it.
Yeah, well, we're working, we'll work through it, Mark, and I'll give you an email back, just let you know.
Yeah, and I know that
doing.
Just, I don't want to consider this as negative feedback, but in the last mailing we put out, it was very wordy. It was more, this is in the quarterly mailing for Lower Makefield.
Yeah.
It was really information designed for golfers. It wasn't designed for people that don't know anything about Highlands.
Yeah.
And it was like almost no imaging of the golf course at all. It was just all, and nobody's going to sit there and read a whole page about a golf course they know little about. So if we can on some of the next one, maybe we try to address the marketing for people that don't know anything about the golf course. Because I think this committee knows that they come across people that have never heard of Makefield Highlands Golf Club.
Yeah. So
frustrating.
Honestly, you'll see a lot of that in the golf industry. I mean, it's something we deal with all the time. Totally agree with the newsletter. It is a newsletter style, so they did want a lot of body in that one, but we can try to make sure there's a few more images and things like that. But totally agree. That's why I think the social media and the Facebook is such an important part of what we're doing now. And you can see a lot of our advertising is really not golf. It's a lot about the restaurant and a lot about events and parties. So we're trying to push hard to let the non-golfer know that we're out there.
Yeah, then that's how you're going to drive incremental business. Getting Rich Eisner to get out there and golf on a weekend is not too much of a push. But getting my neighbor that's never heard of the golf course that wants to come out to sit on the deck and have a nice lunch is a good option for building business.
Sure.
One of the things that we can do, and I think it's along the lines of the social media. So I guess it was 2 Sundays ago, there was a shower for, who was it, Mitch Friedman's wife?
Yeah.
And so none of you guys probably know him, but Mitch is a member of Yardley, and he had a bridal shower or baby shower for his daughter at Makefield. And then his wife wrote a hugely complimentary, couple of lines on Facebook. And so for all of you guys who are on Facebook and are on the Makefield page, you would have hopefully seen that. That's something we should share, right? As in our roles on the committee, just click share. All your friends will see it. That's the kind of stuff, to Mark's point, that gets out to everybody and really can grow, quite a bit and just get to people that don't know about it. So, Mark, I agree with you 100%. And it's things like that if they're out there. I mean, Ed and Mike are always reposting the positives. So, if we see them, we should share them with our friends group in Facebook.
Yeah, please. That really does help. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Mark.
We're at 8:30 almost. And I know we have a few things to discuss. Anything else for Mike and Ed?
Ed, I know I quickly said something to you the other day when I was playing. It's really annoying on the tee boxes how people do not pick up their broken tees. We talked about putting a screen box out there. Are we going to do that?
That's something I can, I know what you mean. I mean, I think we can probably figure a solution out some way. Yeah.
We had those metal cones for a while out there. Like they look like funnels out there. I don't know if we still have them, but they serve the same purpose.
Looking with Mark on it, and
yeah, exactly.
Figure it out.
So I was thinking
They should be out there, sure.
They should be out there.
Unfortunately, Rich, people look at those metal cones and it's like playing basketball. They throw them, if they make them, they
Yeah.
make them. At least with the box, it's a little bit bigger. They'll try.
Yeah, no, I duly noted.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree, Tim, and just having, I think Mark's probably just fighting some staffing right now to just have somebody out there to sweep them up. Really, is probably the biggest.
It's gotta be annoying.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
hundreds of them out there.
Callan?
Yeah, I have a couple points. To Tim's point, if anybody ever checks my golf cart when I return it, I had 2, cans in there. I pick up tees. I do everything. I have a cart, so it's not that difficult for me to do it. It's just part of who I am. Anyway, yeah, I did have one question. So back in when Makefield Highlands opened, there were women who were part of the Makefield Highlands Golf Association. And it was obviously a different management company because it was Kemper. But we actually had a large enough group. There were probably 8 or 10 of us. Things just sort of petered away. And I think there might be interest in something similar. The issue that happens is that me, as someone who didn't leave, is if you group the men and the women, because of their handicaps, get put at the back of the line. And my golf game is not the same, although my handicap may be similar to the men. So I'm wondering if there is a way to start thinking about a golf association that would include the women. And I understand that also would put them in line to be, to be involved in gap matches. So,
Well, if I could, yeah, certainly. Thank you, Helen, for that. When I went back, if you back up a little bit to that par 3 challenge, which we did at the end of May, we had a few of our association players ask me if there could be some players that could join that event that are non-association. And because it was end of March, and wasn't completely filled, I said, oh, okay. And there were a few of them that were ladies, and it was great to have them out there. Jeff Shockley's wife was one of them. There was Lauren's mom was one of them. There was about 6 ladies that played, and it was great. And so I echoed your sentiments that day when I was running the event. I said, please, ladies, obviously this is an event, an association that is a players' an association. It's not a men's Makefield Highlands Golf Association. It's a Makefield Highlands Golf Association. And I think you've heard me over the years at the ladies' banquet always preach to our ladies, this is always, you're welcome to join that. And there's always a separate flight for whatever event it would be. Now, when it's not the ladies are at the back of the bus, it's the ladies that join the association would have their own flight because they play the different tee box. So I welcome that. I actually had four of the 6 ladies came to me that day after the par 3 and wanted to join, and they did join. Lo and behold, they backed out because they thought the association players got extended dating for tee times. So not only did they pay the $200 to what they thought was to join the association and be part of the association, I said, it's great. I said, I'd love to have 6 or 8 ladies. I said, Helen, you've been one of the ones that have always been in there, which has been great. I said, I'd love to have our own little division. Once they found out they didn't have any extended dating on the tee sheet, they said, can I have my money back? Because our association players, and I know Joe and a few others that we've had this conversation a lot, would the association golfers have an opportunity to maybe get some extended dating? Currently, they don't. What allows them to have is a tournament division and events that we have, discounting in the pro shop, things of that sort. But there's never been something that we've not welcomed ladies in the association. quite honestly, would open arms, and I'd love to have more.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Can we just clarify? It's always been an association. It's not been a men's association. So no one's ever been excluded from the association.
Hey,
I just think we got to
you
figure
know
out
what?
how we get them out
Come
there.
on. Hey,
Helen, no
a lot
one's
of us have
excluded.
been around for a long time. So until we can get a group of women who are recognized in terms of a spokesperson group, that can present you with a plan that works within whatever rules there appear to be. But I think it's not a particularly friendly place, as you found out, because whatever happened with those folks. So anyway, something I think there are some women who would like to work with you on it.
Yeah, we'd
Yeah.
love to. We'd
Sure.
love to talk to them. So if they're out there and you know who they are, Helen, then really as a committee member, we hope you would help, make that happen.
Sure.
We'd want to be
Bridge
able
the
to
gap.
figure that out. So, I mean, we have a ladies league of, 90 some odd ladies,
Right.
and it's awesome. But if there's ladies that want to play on the weekends that are part of that group, that would be awesome too. So.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'd love to work with you on it. Okay.
Yep.
Anybody else? Anything for Mike and Ed?
Yeah, I have one thing for Ed. Yeah, Ed, I played golf there last week and I was at the driving range. And I just want to, half the mats did not have tees or the tees were broken. Those adjustable tees are nice, but if the golfers keep breaking them, maybe we should think about replacing them with the white rubber ones. I think they're probably less expensive.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think we're looking at the range as a whole, not only just with the technology, but just with how it presents itself up there. There needs to be work that's done. Certainly with the mats and the tees, I think, yeah, there was, last week or about 10 days ago, we had supplies on order. Things were backed a little bit, but of course, once they get here, we have supplies to do it. But in those days that are leading up to it, it doesn't necessarily present the way we want to. And those fiber built tees, as you mentioned, then they go up and down. They're, we've had the other ones too that you put your own tee in, and then it almost becomes more of a hazard to get them out.
Do you have any of the plain white ones in stock, Ed? Just the regular white?
Yeah, they don't actually. They're wider than the way these fiber built mats are. They're designed to.
Yeah, you can't put them in. You can only put the pop up tee in.
Yeah. So I think what we're looking at is not only just.
Are we getting all new mats when we go to that top tracer thing?
Yeah, I mean, at this
get a new tee line
point right now, I guess, Joe, we would like to try to put some type of tee line in there. Just the cost, today, there's not enough money in the budget right now to do that. But we would love to, as we build this out, we were talking about as we lay it out to make sure if we want to create a tee line in there that we could do it that way in the future.
Because the mats that are there are almost dangerous to hit off of. They really are in bad shape.
Yeah,
what do you mean dangerous?
They're all worn out. They're we got broken black tee things in there that you take a backswing, you're hitting it. I don't know. It needs to be cleaned up. I mean, I think it could just be cleaned up. I try to get one of those things out. I can't get them out.
No, they don't come out. No.
You have to bang them out. I got a hammer in the trunk. I'm bringing it next time.
We got Jeff was up there. I had one of my guys this week doing it last week, replacing all of them. It's an ongoing, and the range itself, even just supplying it with, we usually get our shipment of range balls in early April, and we put a rush on them, and they're telling me early May. Mike and I were talking offline this morning about trying to figure out a solution because it's, we can't even keep up with the supplies that we have. So
it's a lot of use. It's
certainly we understand. I know, believe me, I know. Yeah. I-
Eddie, did you get 6 more mats this year? Did you get new mats added in?
We didn't do mats this year, no.
We could really use some new ones.
Let's take a look at the mats, because I know we've been adding 6 a year every year, just to
We have
kind of
been.
pick out the bad ones.
We delayed it only just because of not sure what we were going to do in that T line as we were
Yeah.
checking. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll definitely look at the mats.
we'll
guys.
definitely look at it for sure. I mean, the range overall, I mean, Mike and I and Mark have been talking about it. We know we have, work to be done for sure.
Well, I told everybody this past weekend we were replacing them all, so it's all right.
Yeah. And they were replaced.
Hey, shut them up for a few minutes.
Yeah. Well, 30 seconds maybe.
Donations accepted.
All right. I think if that is it for Ed and Mike, thank you guys. Our next meeting is May 17th, Monday at 6 p.m., not at 7:30, and we only have 1 hour. We are limited by available time slots with the township, so we have to take what we can get. And I did not want to not have a meeting in May.
Rich, give me that date again, please.
May 17th at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
But you couldn't move it till Tuesday?
I got a available slate of dates.
That's Tuesday's open. She had Tuesday open because the zoning hearing board moved.
I can check back with her. I've been trying to keep it consistent with our regular date. So I know you have a league on Monday night. I think Tim and Joe got a league on Tuesday night. I got a league on Wednesday night. So I'll let me see what I can see if I can switch it out. But I'm trying to be consistent with our third Monday of every month. I'll check with her, Helen.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks.
Okay, so we have two things to talk about. First one was the card, not whatever they called it. It wasn't a resident card, but the pass holder. So I mentioned that I thought the numbers didn't feel exactly right to me, but I feel this is just my opinion, and we can all vote on it. I feel it's worth a try. I don't think we lose anything by giving it a try, and see what happens. I think what they've proposed makes sense to me. So, anybody want to make comments, and then we can take a quick vote on it.
I think it's worth a try. I mean, I don't know if the discount is, enough. I mean, somebody's got to play 30 rounds to get even, or whatever he said. That's a lot of rounds. So, but you're right. To get that extra time on the starting times may be the thing that puts people over the top. I don't know.
I agree with Joe.
Anybody else? Helen, I don't know. Were you on for that part of it? I know you probably couldn't see the screen.
No, I came on later.
So
I can bring it up.
Ed included. I can share my screen again if you want. Ed included a pro forma table in the email that he sent out later today with about 5 or 6 attachments. Basically, I think they left a category out, which is why I said the math didn't work. So they looked at it, golfers who've played 6 to 10 rounds a year, golfers who've played 11 to 20 rounds a year, and then they made an assumption that group in that 11 to 20 rounds, if they were the ones to buy the card, that was around 300 players, that they would then spend $200 each to buy a card, and then the discount would equate to 10% of the non-resident. There's no incentive for a resident to buy the card. The non-resident card, and then actually there is an incentive for the resident to buy a card because they would have to pay pay up front to then get the 21 days. So there would be incentive for that. And then
Rich, what was I looked at that, but I didn't see information that at the end of the year, what's that add to the bottom line?
so if 300 golfers buy it at $200, it's $60,000.
Well, I get that, but what do we lose for reduce? Do we lose anything else reduced?
I think you lose all of it because I don't know if you lose all of it. So if the discount for it's a 10% discount. So if X number are resident golfers, and that's where this whole thing breaks down, and Y are non-resident, on the non-resident, you're losing on a weekend. What do they pay, Joe? $80?
I think it's $80 now.
So you lose $8 around there, and then for the resident, you would lose what do we pay? $650. So make it easy. Let's say it's 300 golfers, and it's another 10 rounds each.
Well,
That's 3,000 rounds times somewhere between $6.50 and $8. So you lose. I think you still come out ahead.
I didn't think the resident was going to get a discount. I thought the resident was just going to get to maintain the 21 day.
Well, then I don't think that's fair to the residents.
Oh,
right. Well, why would it? Why
that never stopped anybody before? What the hell?
No, I understand, but so all of a sudden for the last 16 years, you and I have been getting a 21-day advance booking, and now we got to pay $200 for that.
No, we're going to pay $30. That's all our fee is, resident fee.
I'm sorry. So $30. Okay. And the
and they're really doing that just to.
No, that is a no-brainer. So sorry, Joe. Thank you for correcting.
I think the residents are going to get it back in golf balls, in the practice range and stuff.
Right.
They're just doing it to make it look equal more.
No, Joe. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it. So, Mark, to answer your question, the residents don't. So let's say it's 100 residents that play an extra, or let's say 300 non-residents that play an extra 10 rounds each. Right, that at the discount, that's 3,000, 10 times. Well, I'm doing something wrong here. That's 300 times 10 rounds. That's 3,000 rounds times $8.50. So that's
Right.
What's that?
$25,000.
Right. So I think they still come out ahead. They probably come out ahead by about $50,000, $40,000.
And what is that's assuming that you sign 300 people.
Correct.
What if 300 people don't sign up?
Well, you give away less.
All right. And is the money being made off the non-residents, or is it being made off of both?
For the golf course, it's being made off the non-residents, and there are
All
there are far more non-resident golfers than there are resident golfers.
All right.
And that's the algebra, right? I mean, if only 100 non-residents buy it, then that 3,000 number becomes 1,000. So you're still your delta stays the same.
Right. Business math always tells you if you're going to make more money, you do it. If you're not going to make money, don't do it. So if the bottom line on this is it adds to the bottom line, then it's a good idea.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
Well, I think it's worth a try. I like to see what the reaction is by the non-residents. I mean, I wish they had done this earlier in the year, but
correct.
You don't seem to be able to do anything very quickly. So, but you got to do something. It's getting to be very, very expensive to play golf there, and at some point, this pandemic will end, and everybody's going to go back to work. And guess what? There's not going to be anybody out there on the weekdays, just like it used to be. So get greedy just because we have an opportunity.
So can I get a motion to recommend our agreement with giving this a try?
Okay.
Second? All in favor?
All right.
All right, Jim, with that one. So I'll let Mike and Ed know that we recommend we give this a try. regarding the other discussion around the first responders and the active military, I think everybody was in agreement that that would be a good thing to offer. I think the disagreement was around what benefit we provide. Helen shaking her head says, I don't know if she was in agreement or not. You weren't on camera earlier. So the discussion was, let's just go back to it for a second. Do we offer a benefit to first responders and to active military? All in favor of that?
Township residents or everybody?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Well, I would vote for it if I knew what the parameters were first. I have to vote for it with parameters.
So I think we would, what I said when they were on the call was, we would be in favor of it, but we would need to understand and agree to the parameters, to your point, Mark. So let's talk about the parameters. You suggested, Mark, not discounting the golf, but giving a
I would
bucket of
call
ball,
it added value.
added value. Thank you. Whether it's a bucket of balls or a hot dog or something like that. Tim was pretty adamant. No, it should be a discount on the golf. One thing is clear: it should not be the difference between the resident and the non-resident rate. It should be, 10%, like Mike said, because you got to limit it. How does everybody else feel on this? And then we're going to see what they come back to us with.
Well, Mark, you said that you didn't think we should do it on weekends. We don't give senior discounts on weekends after a certain hour.
Yeah, I would see, I look at, this is giving a discount to first responders is like we should have been doing this years ago, but now we're looking like we're kind of a little bit of a wannabe trying to do it now. But I don't believe that on a Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning that we should be, if it's $80, I don't want to discount $8 because we could sell that tee time to hundreds of people at full price. But that being said, if you want to take care of first responders, get them to your golf course, middle of the week. Maybe it's a higher than 10% to golf on the afternoon during the week. Do something for them, but don't give away your profits.
So we don't have to give. So Joe, I think, said, and maybe you didn't hear, if we followed the same parameters that we do for seniors, so seniors get discounts during the week, and seniors do not get discounts on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays until after 1 o'clock or whatever the time is, I think that would be okay. And then and we're not giving away the profits at that point, So if there's parameters around it,
sorry for not knowing the discount, but what's the price difference percentage wise from seniors to what do you want to call them? Regular rate or
Quite a bit.
So now you're offering more than 10%.
Yeah.
No. We never said, so I'm not saying giving them the senior rate. What I'm saying is you coordinate it with the same time. If they're seniors, they get the senior rate. If they're not seniors, they get the active duty rate. Let me just.
But it's just my opinion. I don't want to discount weekend golf.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. I think what we're saying is the discount. I can't get the webpage to open on my work computer. I think you get the discount based on the same time frame.
Well, you said Saturdays after 1 o'clock.
Yeah, the same time frame as a senior. You don't get the same discount as a senior.
My vote would be not to discount weekend golf at all.
Even though seniors get a discount on Saturday afternoon?
We're not talking about seniors, and you're confusing the seniors with
I'm not confusing anything. I'm saying we follow the same guideline.
I would vote against that. That's fine. That's just
that's fine.
I agree with Mark.
So no active military discount on weekends, regardless of the time of day.
Right.
That would be my vote.
Okay.
I disagree.
I'm going to disagree too. That would have to include Friday too, because I think we have the same thing in effect for Friday.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to incentivize first responders to golf, or what's the goal here? Are you just trying to give them a price break, or are you trying to incentivize people to,
Can you see this thing?
Yeah.
I don't know what the incentive is. I mean, you know, it's to be nice people. It sounds like it's what we're doing. But if we're going to do something, you know, I think that if you follow the rules that we use for seniors, I think it works. I think it really works it's afternoon on weekends.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I would say 10% off during the week, but that would not, my vote is not the weekend. But let's put it up for board vote.
Well, Mark, question.
Yeah.
I know the world today is totally different with the pandemic, but how many of the people that we may be talking about that can get a benefit from the discount are able to play during the week?
I don't think that's a question you're putting yourself in the, you're acting as a spokesperson for first responders. We're trying to offer a benefit for first responders. If they can't play during the week, that's their issue and not our issue.
So then we're not offering a discount for first responders across the board. We're only saying for those of you that are able to play during the week, we'll give you a discount. For those of you that cannot, I'm sorry.
Well, you don't have to say I'm sorry. You just tell them.
All right, so guys, let's bring the following to a vote. And to Mark's point, I do think we need to understand the value add that Mike and Ed come up with versus a 10% discount. One or the other. And I would tell you that the senior rate is not discounted no matter what, because you could have a first responder who is also a senior, and I wouldn't discount the senior rate. So I think the question is, if we are in agreement to offer a discount to first responders and active military, what are the parameters? So I think collectively we would all agree, at least not. So the first question is, should we offer the discount at any time? Hey, Joe, can you stop sharing the screen so I can see everybody?
Sure.
Thanks. So first question is, if we offer a discount to first responders and active military, should there be a time or day parameter around it? Yes or no?
I say yes.
Yes.
I
Say
say
yes.
No.
I'll say no.
Yeah, I say no.
So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses and 3 nos. So that would, therefore, we're saying there's a time parameter around it. Now the next question is it only on weekdays as defined by our rate schedule, or is it aligned with the times when seniors are able to get their rates? So all in favor of it being aligned with when senior get their rates, say yes or no. I'm going to say yes to that.
I'll say yes to that.
Yeah, I'd say
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I'll say yes.
Okay, and all who say no? Okay, so that one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 1. So then the decision would be, we'd be in favor of offering a discount to first responders and active military aligned with the same schedule at which a senior can get a discount, pending the recommended added value or discounts. We would have to decide which. We could have a separate vote on that. So at least let them know they should come up with something, and then we can talk about it.
And how they're going to enforce it.
Really good point, Helen. We would need to understand how they can authenticate it. Tim raised that, and that's pretty important. I don't know how you do it. So
They gotta have it. They gotta have some kind of ID.
yeah,
I mean, everybody in the military has an ID. Even retired military has IDs, but I don't know what the other. I'm sure police and fire do.
I believe, Joe, most responders, somebody, volunteer or whatever, carries an ID.
Yeah, I would think so. I agree.
Right.
Okay.
But they got to check it. I mean, that's.
I'll let them know that we would want to see what they recommend from a value add and a discount standpoint, tied to or aligned with the same schedule that which seniors get discount. All right. Anything else, Helen? I'll take a look at the meeting times, but see what's available.
All right. Yeah. So McCartney isn't on here, or
he was on and then he left.
He left when they left.
So, and there's something that says Kirk, but I assume
Kirk is the running.
Kirk is the guy running the thing for the township.
Yeah. So I have another issue I want to discuss. I want to understand how and when, or if there is at the township any diversity, equity, and inclusion program that looks across the whole township and its management structure. But I can take that offline with.
That's not a golf committee discussion, right? That's a township.
Hey.
That's not for this committee, Helen.
No, it's not.
Lucky we can say anything about the golf course. Nobody listens to that either.
Hey.
Does the township have a state?
You heard a very interesting comment when I asked about women and the golf association. All right. So.
Hey, Rich, and this may not be a golf committee question, but it's been something that's driving me nuts for a long time. And I went to a lot of Lower Makefield Township meetings. This golf course turns back a whole lot of money to the township. When do we have the ability as a committee to question the funding goes back into the township and the drawdown on the debt from the golf course?
So what we should be asking the township is for, let me say it differently. And we never got it. You know what? I would rather take this conversation offline.
I agree.
Okay. So let's we can talk during the week. And I'm more than happy to. I don't think we can officially meet as a committee. We have to follow sunshine laws. But I would rather not have a discussion because I don't know what the circumstances are. I think we should have an accounting of, on day one we borrowed X dollars, on day two we refinanced, on day three we refinanced, on day four we refinanced, on day five we borrowed X dollars. We know what the golf course cost us. We know what the lawsuit with the landowners cost us. Somebody should do the math and show us the formula.
Well, and also once they sell the sewer system and get that money, they're going to more than likely pay off a lot of these long-term debts. So that may end up moving that timeline up for the golf course having its long-term debts satisfied.
Correct, because Tim, the golf course.
Mark, I agree with you 100%, Mark.
Oh, first time you two guys agree on something. So.
Oh yeah, that's okay. But
so the golf course produces lots of revenue, but right now our debt service is high. So it's not.
I believe that we still have another on the second bond issue they had for the golf course. I believe they still have another, and I'm going to say 12 to 15 years left on it.
Yeah, and Mark, I don't know. I mean, again, I think we've asked for it. We've never gotten the math from the township on what I just described, right? It's the course cost, and the course cost X dollars. You have the architect, the land, blah, 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 cost X. And then you had a second additional cost because of the
The second lawsuit, the lawsuit.
the lawsuit with the homeowners. But there was at the end of the day, there was still a finite number. I'm not talking about annual operating costs. There was a finite number that the golf course cost to build, and there was therefore that should have been the debt. And then, so however the math works, with interest and, interest only payments and regular payments, somewhere there's a formula that will show, we should understand what that all looks like.
But
By the way, Tim, it's not going to change anything.
can
You're never
I
going
add,
to get those numbers either.
Huh?
You're not going to get those numbers.
I know.
I haven't been to a township meeting in a while because it's all done via Zoom. But I went to a number of them for a couple of years. And unfortunately, not including this group, obviously, we have a lot of township residents that question the viability of this golf course because they think it costs too much money for the township. When in fact, this golf course is turning over hundreds of thousands of dollars. But to your point, Rich, offline. Thank you.
Last year the township got money from the government for the golf course and the pool. We didn't see a dime of that. We could have used it. Maybe the course would have been in better shape. We didn't get a dime.
Couple $100,000.
I'm also aware of the budget that the township has to fund the shortfall on the golf course too. Like last year, when we didn't bring in a lot of money, but the expenses were still up there, that the township had to fund the golf course.
They cover their expenses. No, they didn't. They cover their expenses. They didn't cover the debt. So the question, it still goes back to the debt and what's in that number. Does that number contain, again, it's math, so it's how much did the golf course cost and what is in that debt number that is in addition to what the golf course cost. Did the loans out there that got blended into, did they blend other things into the refinancing?
We've been asking for these numbers, Rich, for years. And
More than that.
they don't seem to be forthcoming. Why is that?
Ask James. I don't know, Jim. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, you got on this committee, Pat and Helen have been involved with other things in the township. This is the only thing I've been involved with in the township. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm guessing Pat and Helen don't know either. So it's a good question, Tim. I think I don't know what's going to happen with the sale of sewer. I don't even want to hypothesize.
Right.
I do. Our sewer costs are going to go up.
Again, that's not a golf committee issue. So
I realize that.
Like they haven't gone up for the last couple of years?
Oh, hell, they've just gone up and they're going to go up again once they're sold. Never mind. To Rich's point, not a committee meeting.
All right. So Helen, I just opened up the township webpage. They don't have it might be there. It didn't come up real quick. Any sort of diversity statement.
Don't worry about it.
Well, it's an important thing. So,
I think,
again, I think that's a non-golf course discussion, golf committee discussion.
Right, but I was less than pleased in terms of their absence of focus on the women in the golf association.
Well, Ellen, they don't even tell us anything. So, they're running the whole thing. They run what they want to do. They do whatever they want to do. That's Spirit Golf. That's what they do.
Somehow I get a sense that you have a lot more input in terms of whatever happens on Tuesday and Wednesday night. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not involved. I just go play. But Tim's saying no, and Tim's involved with the Tuesday night league. So
We really have no say, Helen.
Oh. Well, is anybody in the golf association of you all?
On the Tuesday night league,
No, the golf association, the
Yeah.
thing that they played, they had like this tournament or whatever.
The
Couples-
GAF Association?
The Golf Association or the Gap?
Well, the Makefield Highlands Golf Association, because you're a member of that, it allows you to do the gap stuff. But on a Saturday, I can't remember when, they had a tournament. Maybe it was just this past Saturday. I
Yes,
don't.
it was. It was this past Saturday. They had once a month.
Oh, once a month.
And the first one, there was 6 women in it. So in the
Well,
past,
I'm
I know
happy
women
to
played.
hear that. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to join the association, and that's $200. So, and you get nothing for it. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not true, Joe.
No, it's a good value. It is a good value. I mean, if you play in all the events, it's a good value.
But it sounded like he got 6 women and then they decided they didn't like it for some reason. So they,
Well, because they thought they were going to get preferred times by joining the association. I don't know. They must be non-residents, because if they're residents, they get the same 3 weeks everybody else gets.
I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
But just so you know, we don't even, they tell us what the events are. We don't have any say in the event.
Oh, I agree. I agree. But there is an issue when when the women are treated a certain way in that group. Like I said, I've been there, versus perhaps there's a Makefield Highlands Golf Association that has a women's division. Okay.
Yeah,
That's different. That's different than what you said earlier. So if you think, and I think that would be a great thing, that you want a women's division of the golf association, that would be fine. And I don't think they would. I don't think they would have an issue with that. And women,
hope
you know,
not.
and I have not personally played against any women in the gap matches, but I know.
no,
Oh,
women have their own gap.
That's right. That's what they would get from this. That's
So you'd
right.
have to get a gap team for the
You'd
women.
have to get a gap team together.
Right.
Women have their own gap teams.
Thank you, Joe. And there have been women that have played on the men's teams who are, you know, college type players that are very good.
Good.
And then the gap teams are handicap based, so that's, you know, that's just the way it is.
Right. I'm working on it.
I would think you would have no trouble finding. The gap teams are 12 players. You probably need to get 16 for when people can't make it, as Joe well knows.
Like down the road. I'm not there yet. We'll work on it.
Well, you brought it up. Now you're tasked with getting it done for next season.
There you go. Wait until I get these ladies on Monday nights. If I didn't have to come to this meeting, you know, so no, I got here. I got here.
All right.
All right.
Anything else?
Hey, yeah, Rich, something that Dave didn't bring up. All too often, the driving range is not open. Early hours, midterm hours, you can go over there sometimes at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning with a 12 o'clock tee time, and the driving range is closed. But as you're coming up 9, it's open.
Yeah, they
So here's what's going on with the driving range, because I asked the question because I was there a couple Sundays ago and it was closed. And typically they close it Monday night after the women's league and reopen it after lunchtime on Tuesdays. That's when they go and do some maintenance on the range. So any of you guys have been on the range, Joe is correct. It's pretty rough right now. They need new mats. They need new balls. They placed the order for balls with plenty of lead time. And all I can tell you, because I know what's going on in our business, everything is back ordered. And so the balls come from China, and everything's back ordered. So they should have been in. So what happened that Sunday, and may be happening some of the times you're talking about, if it's Monday night to Tuesday after lunch, I just told you why. But if it's outside of that window, it is because they just don't have golf balls. And they just got a new picker for the cart, which was broken. They were hand picking them. If it's wet, they'll close it because the balls get plugged. That range needs a lot of work, and given the staffing issues that they have right now, and again, I'm experiencing with my company, the social programs that are out there right now because of COVID make it almost more beneficial to not work than to work if you're getting paid minimum wage. And they're, for the first time ever, they're having trouble getting staff, cart kids and others because of that. You know, and some of them just it's a tough world right now where that's concerned. So if it's closed, it's not because they want it closed. It's because they just don't have balls or it's too wet. That's the only reason that it's been closed.
But that is a scheduled time. Your Monday night after the league, and then until noon on Tuesday, it's closed. Always has.
Correct. And that's when they're supposed to be doing maintenance.
Right.
When we get there on a Sunday morning to tee off at 8:30, it's not supposed to be closed. You know, and that was 2 Sundays ago. I think I don't know if you were there or not, Joe. They just didn't have balls. You know, I'm not making an excuse. I think that's terrible. It's lost money. But you know, I think they get the benefit of the doubt. I think they're doing their best. I think they just don't have enough help. You know, and even if they have to send kids out there to hand pick it, you know, and I think by that time on that Sunday morning, their picker was broken, and they would have required somebody going out and hand picking balls. So it's a good point, Tim. I haven't heard it being closed again recently, so I'm hoping they got the new picker, and I'm hoping that's solved the issue.
Well, to your point, last Tuesday night was not our opening round. That was a practice round for our league. And they told us going in halfway through, not enough balls. They apologized, don't get me wrong. They just didn't have enough balls.
Yeah, they've ordered them. You know, they're just.
Maybe we should also all donate our extra golf balls.
Well, I think it's a combination of both, Helen. It's not enough balls, to Rich's point, not enough workers.
Yeah,
The picker wasn't working, so it's a combination of all the above.
yeah, I agree.
So no, it's a good question, Tim. And you know, all you guys, I know, you know, Pat, I'm sure you go over there because it's in your backyard. Mark, you know, if you get a chance, I don't know when the last time you've been over there. The restaurant's doing better. Joe, I know you eat there. I feel like
I was just there for lunch. It was great.
Yeah, I feel like it's improved, you know, and I think I got to tell you, I think what Ed did with that, put me down for a 5 was really a good one. That one they got right. You know, that beer can, when you look at it with the golf balls on it, and it was a pretty. They got that one right. That's a real good one. If you see it, Mark, you'll know what I'm talking
They
about.
got to get their own bourbon too, though. I mean, what the heck? Can't drink beer.
This is not a 5-star restaurant.
Joe's thinking of those steakhouses where you have your own wine locker.
There you go.
We need a
Lockers,
bourbon locker for Joe.
Right.
All right. We have minutes to approve before Jim nods off over there.
You're
Yeah,
muted.
Is very wide awake right now.
I vote to approve the minutes.
Wait, which minutes are we approving?
All of them.
The ones he just sent out a couple hours ago.
All right. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 2021 meeting?
I approve.
Agreed.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved, Jim.
Thank you all.
All right.
Can I make a motion? We adjourn this meeting. I've been sitting in this chair since 6:30 this morning.
Joe, what's this?
No problem.
Get the little violin out for him.
The world's smallest violin, Joe.
I would make a motion to adjourn.